Love is a place. Love is a place, and through this place of love, move with brightness of peace all places. Yes is a world, and in this world of yes, live, skillfully curled, all worlds. When Ike left for college in the fall of 2001, and I had taken a leave from teaching, and my mornings were no longer bustling with my own busyness, I was sitting in the kitchen one morning listening to Nick's getting up, showering, and getting dressed sounds. Just listening to Nick. I realized that for years I had not listened to Nick's sounds. My ear had been trained to sounds of Ike, falling, calling out, needing something. I had let Nick slide. For the next 2 months, I focused on Nick front and center and talked about my worries about Ike a little less. Nick is energetic, his personality and bright mind as irrepressible as his unruly reddish hair. He is a yes guy, not an obsequious yes, but eagerly open and ready for the next thing. He is big on following his heart and big on questioning. Almost every year in grades 7 through 12, a major English paper for Nick had turned into a piece about his brother. When Ike left for college, Nick's paper ended where he hoped the story would, in his brother's victory over the unknown illness. When the call came that Ike would need to take a leave from college, I refrained from telling Nick for several days, biding time until the weekend, going over the words in my head, rehearsing how to break the news to him. When Noah called to say that he and Ike were within hours of home, in the U-Haul with all of his stuff, I tried to talk to Nick about what had happened. He fell on the kitchen floor and sobbed. I sat down next to him and held his head in my lap. A year later, Nick lay flat on the same kitchen floor, this time jubilant. Yes, yes, I heard from upstairs. He had phoned the college admissions office and learned that he had been accepted. By the time I reached the kitchen, he was lying on his back on the floor, his eyes moist. Finally, he said, vindication, laying claim. I had heard the admonitions and read the articles about the overlooked sibling of the chronically or terminally ill. I thought I had been paying particular attention, and Nick had been fairly good all along at laying claim to things he felt were rightfully his. In 1998, close on our first inklings of Ike's illness, Nick stepped forward and informed us that we still had to do things as a family. We could not just stop everything while we worried and waited. Our 12-year-old challenging us to regroup. That March, Nick accompanied his father on the business and pleasure trip to Mexico that the four of us had planned to take together, and I stayed home with Ike, who was newly resistant to travel, what with the physical changes that were occurring. Nick thrives on adventure. Being with him in the midst of it is great fun. The summer he turned 14, he and I went to Paris a week before Noah and Ike. Nick delighted in his ability to communicate in French. He loved running by himself to the grocer's a block away, knowing that he could manage to get what was needed, speak the language, pay in the foreign currency. And each time he returned, he was more full of energy and more alive. When Noah and Ike arrived the next week and the energy shifted to accommodating Ike, Nick still generated energy. He has often been, for me, the courage encouraging. As small boys, Ike and Nick played together well, almost always when it was just the two of them. I didn't have to force or impose or be didactic. They just got along. Isaac, the older, gentler, Nick, the firebrand, yet looking up to his brother, sensing perhaps at a young age that his fights in life would be with others.